Healthy spaces shouldn't just be nice to have. They should be a requirement. Whether you have clients asking for specific building improvements, you're going to their spaces and you see potential issues, you want to level up your projects, or you're looking to transform your own space, today I'm going to go over the specifics of what makes a space healthy. My name is Hannah. I'm an energy and sustainability engineer, and if you make buildings better, I make you an itty bit better. Oftentimes, the older the building is, the more it has been duct taped over time to account for building changes to accommodate for the people's needs. And as this happens, the more unhappy the employees are because of all these shortcuts that have been taken over time to cut costs. And so the space just doesn't fit their needs anymore. Equipment is outdated, there may be cold and hot spots, certain areas are lacking light, let alone sunlight. People may be getting sleepy or are complaining about headaches. The building owner sees that, and there are obvious decisions to replace equipment like lighting and HVAC. There are other things, not that expensive, that can be done to make these spaces healthier. Today, I'm going to identify those 9 things: air quality, thermal quality, light quality, sound, ergonomics, access to healthy food, connecting with the environment, promoting creativity, and community and connection. Very quickly, you'll begin to discount some of those later ones like creativity and community. But stick with me through this video. I want to recognize that the only reason why we do that is because some of the first ones that I mentioned are more important to our immediate health every day. As we look long term, those other ones become more important to our productivity, our mental health, and yes, even our physical health too. So stick with me through the video and we'll show the importance of all of these things. Let's define what a healthy space is. In general, it is a space that promotes and supports the physical, mental, and emotional well-being of its occupants. It is people-focused. At Itty Bit Better, we are saying we're making you an itty bit better in energy, sustainability, and healthy spaces. But when we talk about energy, we are trying to either save money, optimize our building performance, or reduce our carbon footprint. When we talk about sustainability, we're looking to be more environmentally conscious. We're looking to be nicer to the planet. Creating healthy spaces is different because you don't necessarily need to reduce your energy consumption or your carbon footprint to do it. We are creating spaces that are healthier for the people living in them. Yet, healthy spaces tends to be put on the back burner for projects because it might not directly be related to dollar savings or some metric for the business. But if it's people focused, and we are people last time I checked, why isn't it a higher priority? So each one of these things on this list can be a separate video, maybe even more than one of its own videos. For now, let's talk about how spaces affect each one of these human needs and some examples to improve each one. Let's start with air quality. I don't think I have to go too much into the importance of air quality, and particularly I think after COVID. COVID really shed a light on how important air quality is when it comes to bacteria and viruses into our spaces. When I was at my previous corporate job and everything shut down during COVID and we were working from home, we got more busy, not less busy. As our clients were opening up more windows, installing air purifiers, they were asking us how these changes would affect their energy bills. Clients like schools and government buildings wanted the people to come back into their spaces. And so as they were looking at ways to improve their air quality, they wanted to see how these changes would affect other aspects of their business. Some common things in terms of air quality that we're all familiar with is, of course, things like pollution, dust, mold, mildew, a term you might not have heard of, like VOCs, which stands for volatile organic compounds. And these things are all of those other things that affect air quality, such as fumes from paints, varnishes, cleaning supplies, certain building materials, particle board, or even things like carpets, which is why if you're looking for a more healthy space, maybe you would go for hardwood over wall-to-wall carpeting to make for better air quality in the space, because carpets hold more dust and particles within them that could affect allergies. What are some other options you can do to improve the air quality in the space? Let's assume you've already cleaned, dusted, cleaned your vents, replaced your filter in your HVAC system. What are some other things that you can do to make the air quality in your space healthier? Our first budget-conscious option could be to put more plants in your space, and you don't have to get expensive here. We all know plants use photosynthesis to provide more oxygen. They take in CO2 and let out oxygen, but they also target other VOCs in our spaces. Some common plants are spider plants, peace lilies, aloe vera, and bamboo. And they target things like formaldehyde, benzene, xylene, and this one, trichloroethylene, and all of those enes in those VOCs. Our spendy but worth it option could be a mid-level air purifier. So what this could look like is buying one of those air purifiers that you just put in your space. I actually have one of those. I live in California, and so during our fire season, there could be lots of smoke in the area, and I don't want that coming into my space. All it really is a fan with some air filters in front of it. They could be carbon filters, they could be more common air filter looking things. I don't have a central air system in the house, so that in-space air purifier works great to help clean the air. Our splurge option could be more advanced air purifiers, or even some smart controls in your system. Some more advanced air purifiers could look like bipolar ionization, UV lights, dry hydrogen peroxide, or other ways to clean the air, and they target different things. But then there's also smart controls. If you do have a central air system where you have vents that go to outside, there are smart controls that test the outside air if you are concerned with things like smoke or pollution from outside, if you live near like a big highway or busy streets. And those smart controls will either open or close the outside vents depending on the air quality of outside. Then, of course, some common benefits of doing this is, of course, your own health. There has been research to show that businesses do see a reduction in sick days from implementing things like air purifiers or better filters within their systems to improve the air in their space. So that means healthcare savings for your business, enhanced productivity, and better focus for your employees in the space. Thermal comfort. Thermal comfort is another pretty obvious one, I think. I don't know if I have to go into the importance of being too hot or too cold, although I feel like in office spaces there is always this push and pull between people that are too cold in a space and people that are too hot in the space. So that's always a little bit of a struggle, whether we're talking about 70 degrees or 72 degrees in a space. But it definitely goes further than that. I think a lot of people forget the importance of humidity in a space and how humidity can really affect our comfort as well. Humidity and temperature go hand in hand when it comes to thermal comfort. If the space is too humid, maybe consider getting a dehumidifier. If it's too dry, putting a humidifier in the space helps a lot. And it doesn't have to be a hot humidifier. There are very cool humidifiers too, to just bring up those comfort levels a little bit. But depending on your issues, some more budget conscious options could be to take a look at maybe thermal curtains. If you live in some extreme temperature places, like places that are too hot or too cold, a spendy but worth it option could be taking a look at the types of thermostats you have, or maybe implementing better windows, replacing windows. And our splurge option for thermal comfort could be implementing could be replacing your HVAC system. Depending on how big your office is or home, if you have hot and cold spots, there are HVAC systems you can cool and heat at the same time. So not within the same space at the same time, but different areas of your building you can either heat or cool at the same time. The power of light. If you've worked in the corporate world like I have, and you get put into the middle of the building, you look around and there's no windows around you, and you have no sense of what time of day it is, or if the sun's out, if it's raining. You have no sense of what's happening outside, and there's this feeling that I don't even know how to really describe it, but it feels good to step out of the building and see the day when you're stuck in that stuffy office all day. There was actually a study done in 2016 by, and sorry if I mispronounced this name, Lucassen, and he examined the importance of the circadian rhythm. The circadian rhythm is just the natural rhythm that happens in our body with the rise and fall of the sun. What he did is he exposed mice to artificial light for 24 weeks and just monitored their health. What he found was there was reduced muscle and bone function over this time, as well as a pro-inflammatory state. However, once the mice were returned to standard light-dark cycle, all the health effects were reversed. So basically what that showed, if you're just under artificial light all day long, that feeling that you have during the day, as well as like when you step outside at the end of the day, is a valid reason. There's actually a Mr. Beast video. He did a challenge with 2 people and see if they could stay in this room for 30 days. And the challenge was mostly around these 2 strangers living together for 30 days. But another thing that he did within this space was he kept the light on and could not turn it off. So they even tried, throughout the video, you can see them trying to get away from the light by putting the blankets over their head. Essentially, this was affecting their health. And so I think this was a great example of how light could affect your mood and could affect you over a long period of time. In general, I think the options for improving light in a space could be fairly budget friendly in general. Besides putting in more windows or skylights within a facility, you can do things like put mirrors in a space or adjusting the furniture in the space to allow the sunlight to come in. There's a favorite YouTuber of mine. His name is Cliff Tan, and his YouTube channel is Dear Modern, and he talks about feng shui within a space. He's an architect, and he brings feng shui to such a more modern and approachable feel, and he's super funny, so I definitely recommend giving him a watch. If you do have the option to spend a little bit of money, then another easy way to improve the lighting in your space is buy LED light bulbs. There are tons of LED light bulbs on the market, and now they change colors and they have smart controls and all these fancy things, as well as save energy. For those more splurge options, you can implement more skylights, open up those windows. There are even more advanced lighting systems that completely mimic the circadian rhythm throughout the day. So they'll start off low in the morning, get brighter throughout the middle of the day, and begin to dim and get that like sepia tone towards the evening to get you wound down and tired. Benefits, I think we went over them. Of course, energy savings, but then also improved productivity and happier people within the space. Now let's talk about sound and acoustic. When we talked about air quality, we talked about maybe replacing those wall-to-wall carpets with like a hardscape floor, like hardwood or tile, because it's easier to clean. The con is that it becomes more echoey in a space. So an option to target the sound and acoustics within a space, I recommend getting area rugs. Those you can lift up and either replace or wash, as well as taking a look at the walls and ceilings and seeing what kind of materials you have around you. Curtains are another great way to not only improve the thermal efficiency of the windows around your space, but also the acoustics in your space as well. And curtains can be taken down and washed to make sure you target the air quality as well. Also, taking a look at the textures of your wall. By simply putting up things like bookshelves and artwork, change the textures of the wall, the more you'll reduce the acoustics in the space. Ergonomics. If you have a desk job, I'm sure you're aware of some of the ergonomics of sitting at your desk appropriately. Maybe you have some lumbar support on your chair. Maybe you have a standing desk. Maybe you have some of those pillows for your wrists as you're typing or using your mouse. There are all of these things to make working at your desk more comfortable. But ergonomics is not just about being more comfortable at your desk so you can continue to work more efficiently, but ergonomics is the science and discipline concerned with the understanding of the human interaction with other elements within your space. So it's how you get around your office. Do you have a clear walking path from maybe your desk to the bathroom, to the lounging space, to the kitchen? Taking a look at the space around you and seeing the design and flow of people coming into and out of a space. How can we improve the ergonomics of a space? Some budget-friendly options. Again, I recommend Cliff Tan. He does a great way of showing you how feng shui can improve the space and optimize your experience within a space. Movement. I'm on a walk and I was just listening to this podcast called Body Electric, particularly episode 5, and talking about movement and movement when you're supposed to sit at a desk all day. And so I wanted to mention this within ergonomics because it's not just about how we move around the office, but it's about having a space that allows us to move around throughout the day. So not being constrained to sitting at the desk, but standing desks are great, and having different options for working. Take a walking meeting instead of a conference room meeting. Sit in a maybe like a bean bag instead of a desk chair, or different options. Move your body in different ways. It's so good for our health. Our next topic, access to healthy food. We all know we need to eat healthy. This section is not about eating healthy. It's about that interconnection between our building spaces and access to healthy food. How can we design our spaces to improve that access to healthy food? We don't have to get too expensive here. People already enjoy bringing their own food from home, so making sure you have a simple kitchenette with refrigerators, toaster ovens, microwaves, for people to bring their own food from home is a great healthy option, and it promotes that access to healthy food by allowing the people within the building to have a space for their food from home. If you want to level that up a bit, there are offices that have like a vendor style or like vending machines, but they could be refrigerators too. But having healthy food on site readily available for the people in that space. There are machine systems where you would self-serve in a sense and scan the items, or have them free depending on the building and the business and the kind of space that you have. Then if you're really looking to splurge, there are some buildings that have cafes on site and chefs and people making the food for the people in the space. As we go over the next 3 topics, connecting with the environment, promoting creativity, and community and connection, you'll quickly see that there's a lot of overlap between all of these. And though I did separate them and they could stand on their own, there's also so many interconnections between all of them. So if we start with the first one, connection to the environment, what exactly does that mean? Having a more connection with the natural environment. And just like we can put more plants in our space to improve air quality, having the plants in our space also promotes that connection to the environment. If you want to take it a step further, you can implement more natural materials, wood in a space, even like rocks, maybe implementing a water fountain to get all of those elements within your space to have that more natural feel. Then taking that connection to the environment a step further in communal spaces like a lobby or maybe a little outdoor space where you can eat your lunch. These spaces serve as some great examples where you can bring the environment into that space to promote that connection with the environment. And this doesn't come from anywhere. Having these plants in these spaces isn't just a nice to have. There has also been research to show that connection to the environment makes us feel better. It makes us feel more creative and adaptable to the other things that are going on around us. Now we have these spaces where we have this connection to the environment. They're in some communal spaces. And so now we also bring in a sense of community and connection with nature and maybe also the people around us too. If we have these communal spaces, then naturally we'll talk to the people around us. It'll promote natural brainstorming instead of being stuck in an office space that has nothing on the walls and nothing to promote conversation or creativity. So it'll improve communication. And now you have a better connection with your community, which could be your coworkers. And so if we improve the sense of community, it improves happiness. Again, it improves productivity and it gives everyone a sense of belonging. And when we all feel more comfortable and that we belong, we'll begin to feel more open and we'll have better collaboration and communication between everyone that we're working with. I hope this video gave you a sense of how you can make your spaces an itty bit better. If you're looking to be an itty bit better, whether that's in education or improving your own technical processes, feel free to sign up for my newsletter. We only send it out once a month, and we have themes every month on what we're going to talk about within the newsletter and on our social pages. So give me a follow, and I'll see you next time. See you later.